support net neutrality. It affects the internet and our lives in 3 ways. 1, who decides and controls what we can see and do online? 2, who decides whether new products are successful and what direction innovation takes? 3, it decides the amount of discrimination and self-dealing that sits at the core of the network of everything we do. So first, who decides what we see and can do online? When we click on a link or select an app, what happens? Do we get to see the site or the application we're aiming for, or is it suddenly not available? Without net neutrality, it does not need to be available to you. It's kind of odd to think that part of the internet might not be there, but that's part of the discussion we're talking about. That's called, in the net neutrality world, blocking. Or, when you click on that link or select an app, maybe the site appears, but it's slow. It's really slow. Or the delivery of that information to you is so degraded that it's maybe even unusable. It's too jittery. It's too slow. The application doesn't work. That, in the net neutrality world, is called discrimination, and it is the point of what we're talking about. Now, an ISP, Comcast, Verizon, AT&T, they can discriminate really on any reason. They can discriminate because they own a different product, and they think they'll make more money out of it. That's an innovative business model of the type we just heard about. It is only good for the ISP. Or the ISP could discriminate against the app that you want to access because they have some sort of business arrangement, or maybe they're fighting with the company that makes your app. Or they could discriminate against the app you want to get to because they don't like those kind of apps. They weren't very happy about internet telephony because it didn't make money. Or they could discriminate because they don't like the content. Any of these things are included in the discrimination or the kinds of new business models that our opposition argues for. So 1, our choice as consumers and citizens on the internet gets severely limited without net neutrality. 2, who decides what kind of innovation and new products can be successful? That's the reverse of the topic. Say I'm an app developer and I'm developing something new. Let's say, it's something that's more secure. There's new cryptographic data. I can help you do what you want with your data, but leak less of it, so you control it more. Now, if the ISPs don't need to serve that to you, then I somehow have to find a way that I can make my product available to you. And as John said at the beginning, that way is through the ISP. There is no other way. So before I can offer my product to you, I have to offer it to the ISPs. And I have to convince them or get their approval to deliver it to you, and to deliver it to you quickly enough to make it usable. So now as an app developer, my first customer is not you. My first customer is the ISP. Maybe it wants money. Maybe I can find money and pay them. Maybe it wants data. Like if the ISP doesn't like my product because competing products give them data, then my product is not good for them. And they can say, I'm not going to deliver it to customers. If you change your data practices, maybe I will. And so in that case, I, as the developer, cannot make the product I want for you. I cannot make it more secure. And then I have to go to all the other ISPs and have the same discussion. So the ability for innovation to cover a wide range is deeply limited. The lack of net neutrality is great for innovation for the ISPs. 5 companies, even 10 if you double it in America, and it is terrible for all the rest of us. And all the innovative business models that might come out of everyone except the ISPs get limited by what works for the ISPs. And the third question, how much discrimination do we want in the network that is the basis for all of our activities? So Comcast owns NBC. That's a lot of content. The whole point of not having net neutrality is that the ISPs can have, quote, innovative business models, unquote, that benefits the content they like and profit from. So maybe if you're a Comcast subscriber and that's your option, you'll start to see a lot of content that's good for Comcast. If you're an AT&T subscriber, they're trying to buy Time Warner, which includes CNN. So maybe you'll start to get discrimination from AT&T with a different set of content. Or maybe Time Warner can't buy CNN because the government won't let it. Maybe it buys Sinclair News instead. And then if you live in a part of the country where there's AT&T as your choice, and AT&T is discriminating and trying innovative new business models with all the content that it owns, you might very well find your channels of information, including your news, tuned for the new business model that's profitable. Now, sometimes people say to me, oh, that's crazy. You know, businesses wouldn't do that. But, you know, people told me that when I first started talking about the dangers of Facebook and data. And that was nearly a decade ago. And so these sort of crazy businesses would never do that things have a way of happening. And so we are setting the framework right now.